Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and I want to welcome Coffee News with Derek. How do you say your last name?
Pollitt.
Pollitt. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Coffee News. Tell us a little bit about Coffee News. Where did this all start? What is Coffee News all about?
Coffee News is a franchise, and it was a brainchild of Jean Dom out of Manitoba, Canada, from back
Manitoba?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 24 years ago.
Okay.
And she wanted to help the local community, small businesses prosper, and they were having hard times back then. So she created this paper, and she has experience with advertising, but also she did a lot of techniques with subliminal techniques and superlearn.
Did you say subliminal techniques?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So originally this started out to help out small businesses. Mm-hmm. And of course that's got to be the continuing, that's exactly what you're trying to do.
Yep.
Here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background?
My background is computer science, actually. For the last 15 years or so, I was in the computer science in the corporate world. And I also wanted to find a business of my own that I could help small businesses, help other people, and help nonprofits. So in doing research, I found Coffee News as a franchise, and it has a lot of experience behind it, and it's a great product.
Okay. Well, my first impression when I saw this, and I hadn't done any research at all, I remember years ago when I started my carpet cleaning business, and people would call me up and say, "Hey, listen, you want to get on a placemat? It'll be on the restaurant, and people will be eating, and they'll be able to look at the placemat and see your advertisement there, and for a low price." This is a little different than that. Yep. Actually, it's a lot different than that because there's a science behind this. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, if you're just having your breakfast and you're eating your eggs, or whatever, and you might happen to see something as you're having a discussion with somebody, but this Coffee News you actually have to pick up, and you can begin to read the articles. Now, do you write the articles here?
No, actually, all the content is provided by the franchisor.
Okay, so this is a franchise.
Yep. All
right, and you are a franchisor, a manager, or?
I own the Nashua franchise.
Okay. All right.
Similar to any other franchise, like a McDonald's or Wendy's, or I bought the territory for Nashua and the surrounding towns.
All right, and I think when we had a little discussion earlier, you said this is positive news that people see, or articles that are of interest. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, basically what we strive for is all the content in Coffee News and also the ads also are fun, family-friendly content. And so what they're known for is that they have tidbits and jokes and trivia, and it's a weekly publication. So every week people tend to start looking for it so they can see also the horoscope, whatever. So it has all different content that relates to everybody. And so it varies from all ages, from teenagers up to, I have people that respond back to my contest that are 90 years old.
Oh, so you have contests?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And there's a little place I'm noticing here that says what's happening. So, for instance, let's see, it's Great American Downtown presents Nashua Farmers. How did you get the information about this type of thing?
Basically, the What's Happening area section is for nonprofits or not-for-profits, and for free, they can submit to myself. They can go to my website, and there's a submission form there. Or I also outreach, a lot of networking I go to, I outreach to a lot of nonprofits and try to find events or things that are happening locally to put in there.
Okay. Now this isn't a fly-by-night company. This has been around for a little while?
No, it's been around Coffee News has been around for 24 years.
Oh, interesting. All right. And how long have you owned this franchise?
I owned it just almost a year in August.
Okay.
For Nashua.
And do you mind me asking how many subscribers you have?
I have, basically we do distribution locations, and so we distribute them weekly for free to restaurants, cafeterias, coffee shops, hospitals, medical offices, car repair shops, basically anywhere someone's waiting. So currently right now we have 2 editions, Nashua and Nashua North. We have about 180 locations.
So car shops, basically where you're stranded, right? you
basically,
have to pick something up and
someone's sitting reading it, and right. So what's great about this is that it's clean. It's only 1 page, and so the restaurants and the locations like that doesn't make a mess with a whole bunch of different pieces of paper.
Now, do you physically go and deliver these, or are they mailed to these places, or
we physically go out and deliver, and we have a stand like this stand here at most of the locations that have space for it, And so we put in the new ones each week, and we take out the old ones. We pick up anything that's left around.
I assume you recycle.
Yes.
That's a loaded question because you're on TV now, right? Oh, anyway, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the ads. Welcome to Coffee News. You have, let's see, you have car sales, you have Happy 4th of July, legal law offices, PA, admin. You have all different types of, but they all seem to be about the same size. Is that part of the program here? Can you get a full page or one whole side?
No, it's all, each person is, or each advertiser is only going to be that one size ad. So it's a 3x2. So there's no one ad will overburden another ad.
I see.
And also it's exclusive. So once, if you're advertising, your business advertising Coffee News, your competitors won't.
Oh, okay, so there won't be 2 law agencies or 2 carpet cleaning agencies on here?
No, once you hold your spot, that's yours until...
I do see Einstein on both sides, though.
Yeah.
That's a test your memory
That's a test your memory, yep.
Right. So you said there was a science behind this. Talk a little bit more about the science, because what I see, obviously, there's stuff in the middle, but your eyes are designed to go from side to side. Is that how this works?
Yeah. Basically, some of the features that Jean Dom built into it many years ago is, one thing is the color. As you know, the color is a tan, it's a coffee color, but it's also a relaxing color. So your eyes can read it without having any strain, and you feel relaxed. One thing, all the content is in the middle. And so as you're reading the content, your eyes are automatically scanning. So one of the sayings we have is you want many views, advertise with Coffee News. Because as you're reading, as the clients are reading the middle, their eyes are always seeing the ads.
Right.
And we rotate the ads from front to back in each spot also. So if someone just reads one particular part of it, their ad's going to be seen no matter what. And also, some of the features are, you'll notice that things pop out. So we design it. I have special designers that are from corporate up in Bangor, Maine, and they're familiar with it. They do hundreds of franchisees around the world. They do the graphics for it. So certain ways they do graphic designs where certain things pop out of the picture, so that grabs your eye's attention without realizing. We also have a contest that we hide a little miniaturized Coffee News guy, a little bill like this picture here. We hide it in one of the ads each week. And you can go onto my website, or you can send in a postcard with where you find it and your information. And
Okay,
we have a monthly
I'm looking
contest.
right now. Is it in this one?
It is, and you'll see it looks, there's that size. So you have to really
Oh,
look
you had
through
to
it.
point it out to me.
But that's the sample. That's
Oh.
not it. That's the sample there. You have to find it in one of the ads along the outside. So there's some people that just each week will pick up the paper just to find the little Coffee News guy.
And I'm already looking for it. So will it be in this one other than that little spot right there?
Yes, it's in there.
Interesting. Okay, so you got me hooked. Wonderful. Now, supposing you have a company logo, you don't have to go through your graphics designers. Can you do that? Can somebody say, listen, I want it to look just like this. I don't need your graphics designers. Here it is.
Yep, that's perfectly fine. If you have a graphic designer yourself and you want to design it, you'll send it. We'll still pass it through our graphic designer just to make sure it fits the Coffee News look, because it has to fit within this, the shape off to the side.
Right.
And it can't go over any lettering or anything.
As you can see, I'm still looking for it. Well, that's interesting. And is this expensive?
No, actually, we're very cost effective and affordable. So basically, if you're looking at a 13 week, it could be as around $40 a week per edition. And we have
Okay.
multiple editions throughout Nashua.
Do you have to sign a contract or?
We do require a minimum of 13 weeks, so we don't, except for special events and nonprofits that may have something that's going on. And the reason why we do 13 weeks, because of a lot of the background and research that's done into it, is that as you're reading it, like we said, it's repetition is really going to be benefit for you.
Right.
And so as someone sees it over and over, and the ads the paper is changed out weekly. So if you're
Right.
only in 1 week or 2 weeks, you're going to be in and out, and someone may miss that.
I see. Oh, interesting. So, all right, and you said for about 13 weeks, it's approximately $40?
It's $40 per week
Per week.
per edition.
Right. Well, that's very interesting. So you have on here Access Nashua cable TV, I noticed.
Yep.
I could see that we're one of the sponsors, or?
They're just basically, that's a public announcement that they're looking for volunteers. So it's a nonprofit agency that sent in information. This week coming up, we have the Humane Society has a special fundraiser at the ball game, and also the United Way. And so they submitted information to me to put into that. So you see the next week's coming out, that'll be in there.
So who are your biggest, where are the biggest places that you put this at? Is it restaurants? Is it the malls?
Our key locations that it was built on is restaurants. So majority of 70% or 60 to 70% of our locations are restaurants, coffee shops, and then what we do is we fill in and put them into even grocery stores have it, and medical offices where people are waiting. But it was designed for one of the other techniques that Jean Don came up with is your memory will it better serves you basically if you're happy. So if you have something that you're drinking, or if you're eating comfort food, right, and it's something for you to remember. Oh, interesting. So that's what they put it at. And what nice,
benefits the restaurant? Is there a benefit to them, or is it just something that's going to clutter up the corner?
Yeah, some of the benefits of the restaurant is it's free, and it gets delivered, plus we put a stand in there at no cost to them, okay, and we deliver it weekly. It's clean, it's one page, so as someone's drinking their coffee or eating lunch, they can read it without spreading it all over the table, which could cause a mess. Right. It also helps repeat business because people start looking for this paper and they know that it's at that restaurant, so they come to that restaurant weekly to look up the new updated stuff. And then also, it's a quick 5-minute read, so if someone's waiting in line for the food to be, their order to come up, they're not thinking about when is their order coming up, they're more of it being enjoyed with some fun stuff to read.
Right. I take it local people can't contribute to this. This is all pretty much done on a corporate level as far as some of the articles or something to that effect.
Yes. The content is set, and it's being a franchise. They set the rules for that. They set the color. Everything is the graphics or the font size and all that. That's all determined by. Just like you won't see a McDonald's have a green M outside sign. Oh. It's going to be, so you have to match whatever the franchise or setup and whatever works.
Are you in some of the McDonald's locations?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at some places I'm looking at is getting in some of the big fast food. But a lot of it is networking and finding the local managers to give you that approval.
I see.
And so we're trying to get into a lot of the larger fast food places, and working on getting into the hospitals and the libraries and all of that. Right.
Are you in any of the hospitals at this time?
Not yet. We're still working on that.
Still working on that. Well, okay. Yeah. You've only been at it for about a year now.
Yep. And so we've grown. We had nothing starting off because Nashua didn't have a location. Some places already had. It's been in Concord for a couple of years now, and it's over in Salem for a couple of years. So we had to go from ground up and start and go knocking on doors and asking permission to put this paper in there. So we've gone from 0 to 180, and we're still growing. My goal is to have close to 300 by the end of the year.
Now, we're in the political season, obviously, and I don't see a single political ad in here. Is that on purpose, or have you not had politicians engage, or is that just, or are you welcoming them?
Nope. Political ads are welcome. I just haven't got in touch with them, or they haven't gotten back in touch with me. I have certain ones that I have tried to contact, and they are not exclusive. So
I was just going to ask you that. So if one politician gets on there, you won't exclude the other ones.
No, I mean, we can't do that. It has to be for that. Okay. It has to be the freedom of press. So we have to be able to allow all the politicians in there.
Okay.
If anybody that wants to. So we do decide on. I can for ads since it is exclusive, and since it is a family-friendly paper, we do can have the right to refuse or limit what can be said in an ad, or how our ad is, what kind of word is.
For instance, if there's an activist and they want if something's off color or something to that effect, you can refuse them. Correct. Obviously. Yeah. Right. But for small business, it seems like it's a very reasonable price. It's not like you're committed for a year or 2 years. I can remember trying to, when I first started out advertising, you wanted to get the word out, but it was very expensive, and balancing the checkbook was really difficult. This seems pretty reasonable. Go ahead.
Well, even if you do a year, you get a better rate, and so basically for the both editions in Nashua, you're looking at about $2,500 to do all of Nashua for a full year, which is really reasonable when you're looking at advertising.
What is the potential viewer of that? How many people do you think at this point, or have you done any studies, that you can judge how many people are actually looking at this? Can you tell by how small the pile is, or is it?
The research shows that you get about 3 to 5 reads per paper, because the stand, and actually there's ads in here that say, after you're done reading it, please recycle. So a lot of people don't take it with them. They actually put it back in the stand as they're waiting there. So it's not all by just how many copies are in a stand or how many copies we print, because some places you can tell they all come back ruffled up and people read them and put them back. Other places, like a Shaw's or a grocery store that people are just coming and going as they're leaving, you'll see 25, 50 of them disappear within a weekend.
Okay.
So it all depends on where it's at, and but the biggest key is that the metrics show globally, and is that you get 3 to 5 readers per paper. And so if you're doing 1,000 papers per se per edition, that'd be about 3 to 5,000 readers.
So basically, what is you've been in it for a year, what is your vision for the next year? How many viewers are you, or subscribers are you looking for? What's your goal?
My goal is I'm looking at to get over 300 in all of Nashua of distribution locations by the end of the year, and also have a 3rd edition. So right now I have Nashua North, which is basically the Amherst, Nashua downtown, and I'm looking for Nashua South. And then also I want to help those businesses and nonprofits get more aware. So the key is to have the paper full hopefully by the end of the year. That's the vision there. Once I do that, then I also have the opportunity to grow all around Nashua. I also own the territory of Hudson, Merrimack, Amherst, Milford, and Amherst, and Wilton. And so I can also expand different editions out to there, which would help those local small businesses in those communities use the same benefits.
Well, something caught my eye here, and you handed me this testimonial, and one of the things that caught my eye was the City and Parks Recreation Department. Yep. They advertise?
Not within Nashua. So that testimony is put together by all the different franchisees that put in their best ones to corporate, so corporate hands that as a tool. So they could advertise, and they advertise in that particular city there.
But they basically advertise events, or
well,
their
I mean,
website,
if they're, anything that they have, anybody can pay for an ad, even nonprofit or agency that has a budget. We just got a recent one is the New Hampshire National Guard. Just bought an ad for all of the New Hampshire CoffeeNewses.
New Hampshire National Guard?
Air National Guard, the Air National Guard.
Oh, the Air, okay. My son actually serves in the Honor Guard, and we hope to have them on the show not too long from now. But that's interesting. That's very good.
Yeah, I thought that was really, I mean, I was in the Air Force and in the Air National Guard in Connecticut for many years. Interesting.
So if people want to advertise, how do they get in touch with you?
Basically, they can go to my website, or they can call me, and then I'll set up a meeting with them. And what we do is first we look at, when someone calls me and says, hey, I'd like to advertise, first thing I ask them is what kind of business they have, to make sure that they understand is it being exclusive. So if that category is open, they can get in there. If the category is already held by somebody, they can go on a waiting list. But then usually I'll meet with them face to face, because CoffeeNews is not just something that you're going to stick it in the paper. I'm also working as their marketing. We're helping, we're designing. They can change their ad regularly. That's what's different from like a placemat scenario. Since it comes out weekly, if you have something different that you want to advertise in it every couple of weeks, you can change it to me.
All right.
We're just starting next week doing Pet of the Week. And so we're going to be changing that every week. We'll put a new pet in there. And
there's not a fee for the extra change, or once you pay that $40, you're committed to that 13 weeks.
If you do 13 weeks, you do have to pay for changes. If you do anything more than 13 weeks, so either a 6-month or a year thing, then I waive those fees.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you do a 13 week, you're committed to that one particular ad.
Yeah.
Anything for the 6 months, you're going to waive that, and you can change it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. Oh, that's very interesting. So somebody comes to you, they get on your website, they say, listen, I got an ad. I need this right away. Mm-hmm. What's the turnaround?
Turnaround is I print 2 weeks ahead of time. So basically the next, for instance now, the next print is going to be the 30th. So you have to think about ahead of time, and especially if you have an event.
Right.
And I tell a lot of nonprofits that if you have an event, come to me at least 6 weeks ahead of time. It gives us time to get the ad created. We got to go back and forth to do any proofs and do any changes, and then submit it to the printer.
Interesting. Well, say 10 nonprofits come to you all at once. Do all 10 get on this?
If we did that, basically no one would be able to read that section because the font would be so small.
Right.
So what I do is basically we try to do 3 events per week, and I try to give fairness to everybody that I can. So first come that gets the information to me, I put that in there. We try to put each event in for a couple of weeks if they get enough in advance, and then give other opportunities.
Do you have employees?
No.
Okay. If it grows, will you envision having employees?
I'm looking at that. Yeah, right now, what I do, some of the deliveries, I actually have an independent contractor that goes and just delivers a couple times a week on some of the locations to help me, because that'd be 180 locations, a lot to deliver to.
Right.
And I'd rather spend more time with networking and helping the businesses that are advertising and helping them come up with the next ad or put someone else in there.
Interesting. So this is an alternative to something like a Facebook or for the newspapers. How do your rates compare to the newspapers? Are you competitive?
Yeah. Well, basically, also we actually complement online advertising and other advertising. So we are cost-effective compared to a bigger newspaper. One thing, a bigger newspaper isn't generally just a local community. So one of the key features with this is just you can choose a Nashua North or a Nashua downtown where you want to advertise to. You don't have to advertise across the state. So
It's very local.
It's very local.
Right.
And so that cost is down a lot more. So our cost is extremely competitive to the bigger ones. But also what we do is we don't look at just you advertise with CoffeeNews to replace our advertisement. A lot of people have websites, you have online. It complements that. Even if you have a bulletin board on the side of the street, if someone drives by in their car, they may not have a chance to write down your phone number that they see on the bulletin board, but they remember your name. If you're also advertising CoffeeNews, you're having their favorite cup of coffee on a Sunday, they see your advertisement again. It reaffirms that you're in business and that you're must be doing well if you advertise multiple locations. And it also gives you all the information at their fingertips,
right.
and they can take that.
It builds a certain amount of credibility as time goes on. You keep seeing the face over and over and over again, or the ad over and over again. Yeah. And that's that's important for a small business, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, even if you think of big business, you look at Coca-Cola or any of those other big companies that they constantly still, even though they have all the customers they constantly advertise. So it's branding. CoffeeNews helps a small business brand their name, because their name's going to be in there, possibly the picture, the logo, and it's going to be seen every week. And as people can see it consistently, they start remembering it, and then also it helps improve their image.
Can somebody pay with a credit card?
Yes. You can pay credit card or check.
PayPal?
I haven't set up PayPal yet for that.
That was a trick question. I thought that was funny. All right, that's a little dry humor. Yeah. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else you want our viewers to know about CoffeeNews that we haven't covered? Basically, we want people to remember that it's we help nonprofits. You know, we would like to get as much of nonprofit events. So I'm looking at people that anybody like the Nashua Soup Kitchen, the library. How about the Rotary or something like that?
We had the Rib Fest information here, and so basically. It doesn't have to be the nonprofit because they're very busy, they're very understaffed. If you have a favorite nonprofit that you work with or you care about, you can submit information that you know their event. And anybody can email it in to me, and then we try to confirm it, usually with that particular nonprofit, to make sure all the information is correct, and we'll be glad to put that on there.
Interesting. Has the Fairy Tale Festival contacted you yet?
Nope.
Apparently they have something going on July 21st at the what's the big park here in Nashua?
Greeley Park.
Greeley Park. Apparently that's a big event coming up, so maybe we should have them contact you. Well, anyway, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I hope people can get in touch with you. Is there a phone number that they can call?
Yep, you can call me at 603-782-0282.
Okay.
or go to my website, which is CoffeeNewsNashuaNH.com.
And then, Derek, they just call you. Hi, Derek, I need help.
Yep.
That's
and
it.
I will, my phone system will find me or leave a message for me.
Okay, wonderful. Well, again, thanks for coming on the show, and we hope that this has been helpful for you people out there watching. Call Coffee News and set up an appointment. And if you're a nonprofit organization, here's another outlet for you to get your message out. We're trying to help you out as much as possible. So until next week, thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and I'm very privileged to introduce one of my colleagues here at the Capitol, Representative Don LeBrun. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure, Kevin.
All right. Well, Don, you're one of my heroes. Obviously, we've had a little history now at the Capitol.
Yeah, we sure have.
And, when I first started Gate City Chronicles, I went around town and I started putting out my card. I wanted to let people know that there's a show that could talk about their business or their event or their nonprofit organization. So one of the places I stopped was the Red Cross up on Concord Street.
Mm-hmm.
I handed out my card and I said, I'm a state representative and I'd love for you to come on the show. Just talk about what the Red Cross does, the benefits to the community, and would you mind? And they said, sure. Do you know a Don LeBrun? Don LeBrun. Yeah, that rings. He's a state representative. Oh yes, I know Don LeBrun. and come to find out, you were a volunteer for the longest time at the Red Cross.
I volunteered for about 51 years with the Red Cross in different states. I volunteered for 7 years here. I've only been here a little over 10 years, but I did volunteer for 7 years, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and it was totally volunteer.
Right. What did you do?
I started out basically as a on-call responder to disasters, fires, things like that all around town. And I moved up into different positions, and I eventually became the coordinator, disaster services coordinator.
Yeah. So what does that entail?
What that entails is when there is a large disaster, such as a flood or something, that takes more than just a few hours. It's something that's spread out over days, possibly even a week. You go out to the area, you set up a shelter, you coordinate what everybody has to do. You set up the shelter and you run the shelter throughout the disaster.
Yeah. Have you seen many disasters here in New Hampshire?
We had the Alstead situation a few years back.
Was that the flooding?
That was a flooding, yes.
Right, right.
Yes, that was, what storm was it? I can't remember the exact storm, but that was a flooding, and that was one of the worst ones that we've had here. Since my leaving the Red Cross, we have had quite a few that I have not been involved in.
Right.
But
like last October, I believe.
like last October, right, right. Instead of being on the side of helping people with that one, I was on the side of needing help.
Right, so your power went out.
My power went out, was out for about 5 days. And, we had to rough it a little bit, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, we've seen tough days.
But I will say I must commend PS&H for the job that they did last October. I know a lot of people, myself included, after 3 or 4 days, you're wondering, when am I going to get my power back? PS&H did a great job.
Yes.
An excellent job.
Well, it's amazing. We can be thankful for a lot of things, but when you're out of power, I think we were only out of power for 2 days, and it's definitely something we definitely take for granted.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's just my wife and I, so I mean, we can rough it for a week or so. It doesn't matter. I mean, we've done camping and all that sort of thing, so we know how to rough it. I can understand people with young children and whatnot, because the children are probably saying, when are we going to get the power back? It's sort of like the trip that they take, and it's always, when are we getting there? And the same thing. Mm-hmm. And, I can understand all that, but in my case, it wasn't a big deal.
51 years.
51 years.
So
in 2008, current Governor Lynch presented me with an award, commendable service. And I
51
still,
years at anything is commendable, even if it's a
I,
bad thing.
I still have that picture, and even though he and I are on opposite sides of the political spectrum, I cherish that picture.
He's been gracious.
He has.
Been gracious on a
He
number
has.
of occasions. And we definitely, I'm on the opposite as well.
Right.
So what did you do for a living while you were a volunteer? I mean, you had to make a living. Obviously, that was volunteer work. You weren't being paid.
I was into so many different things, Kevin. I have, all my life, I've been into just a multitude of things all at one time. I worked a full-time, in fact, I worked 2 full-time jobs. I worked for a company by the name of Bethlehem Steel, which was at that time one of the largest steel companies in the country. I worked full-time also at the same time for General Motors. So I worked at night, one job, during the day another job, and I pumped gas.
I've done that.
In my spare time.
Yeah.
After I worked at Bethlehem Steel for 38 years. After I retired from that, I decided to open a couple of businesses. I opened a locksmith business, decided to go into a partnership in a sewing machine and vacuum cleaner business, put my locksmith business in one corner, and had a petition that separated the 2 businesses, running both businesses at the same time. So I've constantly had my hands in a multitude of things. I guess I have too much energy for my own good.
No, you're 80. Well,
No.
you're not 80. How old are you?
Let's put it this way, I'm on the shady side of 75.
Shady side.
Yeah.
So, and young.
And the bright side of 80.
Well, I know that you, for a man of your age, you have a lot of power and a lot of what is that word? You can be heard in the Capitol.
Oh yes, I can.
Especially, I can hear you because you're sitting right behind me.
Yeah, yeah.
But and you have you're not afraid to speak your mind.
No, I'm not, and I'm not afraid to break ranks with the party. Yeah. I'm not a strict party person. I don't know how much politics you want to go into, but
not too much. But
yeah.
I want to know more about you. But it's your character, which is really what I want to draw on, and the fact that you're not somebody that can be browbeat.
No,
I
no,
totally
not at all.
respect that.
Not at all.
No. Now I'm one of those state reps that take off my coat, but you don't.
No, I will never take my jacket off.
I know that, and I'm just bringing that on the air because Don's worked in a steel mill, so that means it got pretty hot in there.
It got very hot.
Yeah.
It got very hot.
Yeah.
130 degrees was nothing.
Interesting.
But I will not take my jacket off.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
you know, and I'm a wimp, I guess. But,
No, I don't look at it that way. You know, it's a personal preference.
yeah.
And it's something that I just won't do.
What do you see some of the challenges that are facing today? You know, obviously you're my senior, but you've seen different days, and not keeping too much politics involved with this, but what do you see for the future for us? Locally, nationally, what can we glean from you?
Nationally, I think the biggest, one of them, not the biggest, but one of the biggest problems confronting us right now is political correctness. We have gone so far overboard with political correctness that we're losing our way. Everybody is looking for a reason to chastise the other guy because he's not quite politically correct.
Meaning he's not saying the right, or she's not saying
Yeah,
the right?
one or the other's not saying it the way the other wants them to say it. What is political correct? I mean, what, you know, it's
that, is it those words that are offensive that might challenge somebody's sensibilities?
I think it's fear. I think it's fear of whether it be lawsuits or just hurting someone's feelings or anything in between. It's all the fear of portraying that. We've got to loosen up and get back to where we used to be, where we talk to each other on simple terms. And if you say something that might be a little offensive, somebody can say to you, you know, I don't know why you said that. Where were you going with that? Did you mean what I think you said or something like that? And you can explain it, and you can go on from there.
Right, without having...
Without repercussions.
Right. Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest fears that we have right now.
Where do you think that's coming from? Is it obviously both sides maybe, or of the political spectrum, or is it becoming part of our culture as a whole?
I think it's probably our culture, and what it amounts to is there are so many organizations today, everyone with their own agenda, and they all want to confront the others because they all want to have the forefront. They want to have the limelight. So everything everybody else does has to be wrong. If you don't agree with me, you have to be wrong.
It's conformity.
Yes.
Interesting. As far as your life in the House in this first session, can you talk a little bit about that? You know, I hear that there was a lot of criticisms about the polarization, but one of the things I saw was that it seemed like Republicans were debating Republicans more than anybody else. And there was a lively debate going on.
Yeah, but I think Republicans are that way. I think Republicans constantly challenge each other, and that's a good thing. You know, I saw too much cohesiveness and conformity with the Democrats.
I did not see one Democrat debate one Democrat.
Right.
The entire time.
Right.
Not one.
But Republicans can be controversial toward each other.
And they were very heated at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is another good thing. That's the way things should. That's the only way you settle differences, is for everybody to have their say and determine not who's right or who's wrong, but come to a middle ground.
Right. Or establish the facts. And,
yeah.
And you know, you being a steel worker knows that metal sharpens metal.
That's right.
And what I find that, you know, when you're looking for the truth, a healthy debate, even amongst the Republicans, it was refreshing because there was some serious debates, and you'd hear 3 or 4 different sides just on that side, and all I just saw a bunch of crossed arms on the other side, and I found that to be discouraging to some degree, because there wasn't necessarily an offering of new ideas, and so you would see a bunch of folded arms on the other side where they would let the Republicans slug it out with each other, and then they come in for the kill. That's pretty much how that would go.
Yeah.
And but I thought that was kind of refreshing. I don't know what your perspective on that is.
I think any kind of debate is good. There is a limit to it. There were times when the debate got out of hand. When even if it was just a matter of someone going on too long with their debate and repeating themselves over and over and over again. Right. Once you get beyond a minute or so of debating, you have lost your audience.
Right. I heard there was a 3-minute rule, and I've tried to keep to it whenever I've gone up. But we've heard lectures, which you'd see slowly people walking out of their seat, and they're not accomplishing anything other than hearing their own voice.
No. So many times in a debate like that, people get up and walk out, and then the next thing you know, they come back in and they say, well, what happened? Did I miss anything? No, you didn't miss anything. You heard the same thing over and over again. Right. Well, how are we voting on this? And, you know, there was that lack of interest, really, is what it amounts to.
Well, yeah,
when people get up and walk away, right. it's a lack of interest.
It's just because they're not. That work is supposed to be done in committee.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And that was one of my pet peeves too. Was when the committee makes a recommendation and has heard testimony, maybe 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours, and they bring that to the floor, and people get up and want to overturn individually what a committee has worked so hard to do. Right.
I've actually been guilty of that one time where we had to challenge the committee's findings, and I believe that had to do with House Bill 415, and that had to do with the fact of parents not being able to see what they're accused of. And it was 10-0, and we actually took it off the table and overturned it, and it passed the House. That was one of those rare instances, I think, though, but I can totally agree, because sitting on a committee, on the Redress of Grievance Committee, I see, you know, my gosh, all the evidence that's coming before you, and you have to really plow through a lot of this stuff.
That's right. And
you
take it home with you. Right. You do your homework at home. Right. So you've put in numerous hours at that. And then somebody comes up and wants to tear it all apart.
Right.
And sometimes leadership is at fault for that, because sometimes leadership just simply does not agree with what the committee's come up with, and they want to defeat it.
Right.
And that's something that I can't just give into.
Right.
You know.
Well, that goes to your character again. That when you believe in something, you've not hastened to speak your mind.
No, I don't.
I can remember you saying a few times, Kevin, vote. But of course, I have my own mind too.
Right.
So.
Right.
What do you see for the future? What do you think you want to accomplish this next term?
What I want to accomplish, I'm on Health and Human Services and Elderly Affairs, and I have a lot of experience in that field. I had the experience with the Red Cross, with disasters and things like that, injuries, things like that.
Right.
I also have an organization that I am president of that erects elderly housing projects. And we have one right here in Nashua. We have one right, in fact, up the street here, a half a mile up the street. We have the HEPA 35 Manor.
Oh.
And that's a elderly housing, over 62 low-income housing, 38 units. And that's the kind of thing I'm involved in.
I didn't know about that. Tell me a little bit more about that. What is that?
What it amounts to, it's a HUD project, and HUD finances it, but our chapter began the entire process, went through the architects, all the legal permits and everything else. The only thing that HUD does is to forward the money to us to do the actual project, to build the actual project. And then we take it over from there and we run it. And it's been a huge success. We have 38 of the most comfortable and just wonderful people that are occupying it. And of course, the way it works is you have a waiting list, and as one moves out, then you go to the next on the waiting list, and they have a chance to come in and move in.
How do they get on the waiting list?
It's very simple. All they have to do is go to the project, which is 681 West Hollis Street, and go to the office and see the Jen, the office manager, fill out the application, and if everything works out with their financial stability and whatnot, then they can get on the waiting list.
681 West Hollis Street?
681 West Hollis Street.
Okay.
It's called the HEPA Manor.
HEPA Manor.
HEPA, A-H-E-P-A.
Oh.
And that's a Greek-based organization which stands for American Hellenic Educational Philanthropic Association.
Well, Lisa Sconsis would be happy that you had mentioned that.
Lisa Sconsis is one of my favorite people.
Yeah, I know.
Lisa is one of my favorites.
Fantastic. So you're running again. Is there a website that people can, that you have?
I have a website, LeBrunForStateRep.com.
That's very Irish, by the way.
That's very Irish.
Fantastic.
It's a brand new site. It's only been up for about 3 weeks now.
And you're on Facebook.
And I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you great success. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to leave with our viewers?
What I would like to leave with the viewers is I will be out on the corners waving my signs. I will be available. My phone number, my website, my email address is available. Anyone has any questions, anyone has anything they want to say to me, I'm always available. I'll be out on the corner waving at them. Toot your horn at me if you like me. If you don't like me, don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and you'll see my signs all over Nashua.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you have my endorsement, that's for certain.
Your endorsement is on my website, in fact.
Absolutely.
So,
well,
yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show, and I wish you all the best.
I thank you, Kevin.
All right, yes, sir.
It's been my pleasure, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. And, well, that wraps it up for...
Was that a half hour?
That's about a half hour.
Wow. Where
Yeah,
did it go?
You're easy.
I thought we were in there 5 or 6 minutes.
Oh, no, you're an easy... We're
Oh,
still
wow.
on. Yeah.
Oh, we are still.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Listen, Don, just from my own perspective, Don LeBrun is one of those gentlemen that I would say is a very honorable man. And he does stick to his convictions, and that's one of the things that I feel that we really need. And a person that's not going to be motivated specifically by politics, but rather the character is the issues that I think we need. And somebody who's going to be strong and tell you the way he will keep his word, and I I can't encourage you enough to consider voting for Don LeBrun. So until next week, thank you very much for watching Gate City Chronicles. Kevin Avard here. Thank you for watching the show.